It's Monday. It's Motivational Monday. And we are getting together with somebody new today. We're meeting a new doctor. I'm so excited. So she'll be with us in just a moment. And we're going to talk yummy foods. There she is. I'm so excited. Yay. Let's get Dr. Karen added. Swipe away the comments. We get a good record for us. And we're connecting. Hello.
Hi.
Oh, it's so lovely to see your beautiful face.
Okay, let me see if I can put my phone down somewhere so that it's not moving so much.
You go right ahead. You take your time. So I would love for us to start with you introducing yourself, because I just met you the other day and I don't know what rock I've been living under. So if my people live under that rock, let's lift up that rock for them today.
Okay. Well, like you said, my name is Karen, Dr. Karen. I am a retired chiropractor.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and the reason I retired, now it's about 10 years, I guess, is because my children, I have two young adults now, they were really busy with, after school activities, and they were very active. And I had an active practice as well. But I was torn between treating my patients and being with my kids when they needed me. So I would refer my patients to covering doctors. If I had to travel with my kids, I would, have a covering doctor in my office. But my patient, chiropractic is hands-on, so It came to me for my hands. So they didn't really like going to the covering doctor as much. So I had to make a choice. What am I going to do? So I cut my hours to accommodate my patients and accommodate my kids in the afternoon, and it just didn't work out. So I put my practice for sale. I said, if it sells within a month, it was meant to be, and God gave me the answer in 2 weeks. I sold my practice, including my plants. I gave it all to my new doctor, who turned out to be a female as well.
Oh, yay!
So, it turned out so good for my patients, and they all stayed, luckily. So it worked out. Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to stay home with my kids, and then I discovered that my kids had multitude of food allergies. So they were having all kinds of health issues, especially really bad cases of eczema. So eczema was really bad. And they played sports that, they made them sweat. It was high adrenaline pumping kind of sport, which made their eczema worse. And it just made it awful. So after a few years, I started to look into what is causing all their flare-ups, and it turned out to be food, like the usual culprit, eggs, dairy, gluten, wheat, soy, all of those things that make kids happy. Especially when you're an athlete, you tend to eat a lot of those kind of foods on the road.
Yes.
So that's when I decided this is not good. I had to change. They have to change. I went through a bunch of different types of diets, from elimination to GAPS to paleo. I think we were on Whole30 without even knowing that we were on Whole30. And then recently, last year, after I wrote my first book, which was Paleo Cooking with Your Air Fryer, I explored keto. Because keto is all about cutting out carbs, processed carbs, added sugar. We weren't eating added sugar, but still we were having, a lot of carbs from different sources. So we really watched what we were eating and really tried to go on a keto, I would say probably lazy keto in the beginning, and then really watched the carb, especially, with in that age group that we have to really watch what we eat. So
Yes.
we decided to try keto, and that's how my second book, Keto Cooking with Your Instant Pot, came about. So yeah,
And I'm so excited, and I want to say I think everybody does lazy keto in the beginning, even if they don't realize it, because there's so many levels of learning when it comes to keto. There are a lot of things that I ate when I started keto that I was like, oh my, I'm so keto. I'm like keto AF. And then after I was like, okay, so maybe that wasn't so keto. So let's talk a little bit about that. And then I want to talk about quick meals, because that's what we're here for today. But let's talk a little bit about your progression and learning in keto. Because nobody wakes up day one is like, oh my God, I'm so keto. I know everything.
Well, there are definitely people who need to be on strict keto, meaning they need to have less than 20 grams of carbs. So, of course, when you talk about macros, we're talking about protein, carb, right?
Yes.
And fiber. However, if you just focus on carb, let's say, in terms of keto, strict keto, lazy keto, let's talk about carb content first. When you are strict keto, because let's say you have a medical condition like epilepsy,
Yes.
or diabetes. I know a lot of people are trying keto because of cancer.
Yes.
Which they're finding a lot of connection between sugar and cancer, right? So
Yes.
a lot of people are trying keto for their cancer. Either they are in remission, or they're trying to prevent cancer, or maybe there's cancer in the family and they just want to try low carb. So if that's the case and you want to be in strict keto, you need to have 20 grams of carb per day.
Yes.
Right? So those people really try to stay within that limit. If you're lazy keto, you can be anywhere from 20 to 50 grams of carb. But the important thing is what kind of carb, what kind of foods you're getting your carb from. So it's not just the quantity, but it's also quality. Right? So my take on keto is that, like you said, you don't wake up one day and say, okay, I'm not going to have any carbs at all, because that's just not possible, right? So I would start out with cutting out all processed food to begin with, right? Eat whole foods, whole ingredients, and then cut down on the carb-heavy, even vegetables. You can have a lot of vegetables, root vegetables that are heavy in carbs. So let's cut those out and substitute with something that has less carbs or no carb. So potatoes, for instance. Potatoes is not allowed in keto for a reason, because it's very carb heavy, right? So you substitute with radish,
Yes.
So you can find ways to cut some of those carb heavy vegetables even. Fruits. People think fruit is great, and it is for a healthy person with no problems. But let's say you have an apple or a banana. You can start to, add up all the sugar content from those really sugary fruits as well. Yes, you can have fiber. You can get fiber from apples, and it's great. There's a lot of antioxidants, and it's, all the good stuff. But right now, if you're on keto for one specific reason, you may have to avoid it for the time being, right? So you have to cut out all the sugary fruits.
Well, no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say dried fruits aren't healthy either. I'd love to throw that in there, because I know when I grew up, that was the healthy treat, right? Fruit leather, raisins, dried cranberries, banana chips, those kinds of things. When I first started keto, I went into a group and they were like, plantain chips, they're so keto. And I'm like, dude, they're so not. They're so not.
Yes, that's true. And people, even if you're not trying to be on keto, you really should be careful with dehydrated fruits and dry fruits, because number one, it only takes like 3 or 4 banana chips before you reach your limit, right? So and you're not satisfied.
No.
At least when you eat a whole banana or when you eat a whole apple, you've now, I don't know, it takes me 5 minutes to eat a whole apple, but with apple chips and banana chips, you can eat like thousands of calories just in 5 minutes. And then you need water, right? Because have that around. Now, dehydrated vegetables is a great idea. So, like if you garden, if you grow your own vegetables, you can dehydrate zucchinis. I know some people dehydrate cucumbers. I don't know how that works.
I will have to try it because I got me a dehydrator.
Okay, and then there are people who actually make cucumber chips in their oven too. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, yeah. So that's done before. Same thing with eggplants. Same thing with pumpkin variety. So when you have a large haul in the fall, you don't know what to do with, and you do dehydrate, and that's a great way to eat throughout the winter.
Excellent. So I got my Instant Pot for Christmas, and I have not yet opened the box. But I know that there's a million people like me who either didn't have or just got. And when I posted I got an Instant Pot Lookout World, my group lit up. And they were like, oh my God, I've got one. I don't know how to use it. Oh my God, it looks so complicated. The buttons are intimidating, Dori. So let's talk a little bit about the appliance itself first. Is it user-friendly? Because yet again, mine is not out the box yet.
Well, you have to take it out of the box. That's not step one.
Step one.
That's the first step. Honestly, I don't mean to really self-promote my book, but
we're here for that.
My book does have, in the beginning of the book, it has a lot of tips, what to do first, what to avoid. Because I've been writing about Instant Pot since 2015.
Wow.
So I have actually one of the most popular posts are about using Instant Pot and why I bought Instant Pot. And I'll tell you why, since it came up. But we used to eat a lot of rice. We don't eat rice that much anymore. But we used to eat a lot of rice, and all the rice cookers that are the modern variety are all Teflon coated.
Yes.
And I stopped using Teflon years ago because PFOA, any kind of PFOS variety of chemicals are toxic, and it's been found to be any pans and pots and pans in my kitchen, except for the rice cooker, because I couldn't find a rice cooker without the nonstick coating. Mm-hmm. Then I was researching what can I use to make rice, because rice gets stuck and burned, right? It burns in a stovetop, right? Yes. So I was trying to look for one, and there are a couple of options, and none of them really worked. I returned all of them. And then I found Instant Pot on Amazon, and I found out that it's made of stainless steel, inner pot. Okay. So when I researched, they said, you can make rice. It doesn't stick. There's a rice function, and blah blah blah. So I said, I said, let me buy one and try it. So I bought one on Amazon, and Amazon has a good return policy. So I bought one, and it totally didn't stick. Rice came out beautifully, and it was non-toxic. I said, this is great. Then I started to explore more, and this was end of 2015. So, and the funny story is, back then, believe it or not, are you in the Facebook group for Instant Pot?
I am. Instant Pot community. Woo!
When I first got it and when I joined, there were only 8,000 members.
Oh, it's huge now. It's gigantic.
What is it now?
I don't even know. I joined 6 months before I had an Instant Pot because I knew I wanted one day. So it's been many months since I've looked at their membership, but they're huge.
When I joined, it was 8,000 members. Now I think there's 1.5 million members.
Something like that, yes.
It's incredible how it just exploded in the kitchen appliances market. But anyway, so I started using the rice. I started using it to make rice. And I had my first post is about how to make rice and why rice needs to be made in a certain way, because rice itself has arsenic. So it has to be prepared a certain way and blah, blah, blah. So that was my first post, and that was 2015. So once I make the rice, after you unpack properly. In other words, the steam, even though it's under steam, you shouldn't see any steam coming out while the water is boiling.
Okay.
So you put it in for 2 minutes, I think, or 2 or 3 minutes, or maybe a minute. After it's done, it'll switch to
Oh, we're slightly frozen.
Can you tell 할머니? Anyway, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
So once that functions properly, then you know the machine works.
Okay.
And you can feel things like that. I have never heard of anybody. Well, I personally don't know anyone who failed the water test. But that's basically to make sure that the machine is made properly.
Okay.
Not, and it doesn't happen that often that it doesn't function. But anyway, so once that's done, then you start with, easy things. I know making hard-boiled eggs or soft-boiled eggs is the next thing that people make.
Okay.
Because that's just so easy. You just put in some water and throw in as many eggs you want. You can make 1 egg or 12 eggs. It really doesn't matter.
Ooh.
What matters in the pressure cooker is not the usually it's not the amount of or the number of ingredients, but actually the size of the ingredient.
Okay.
So if you're making chicken eggs, right? If you do 1 egg versus 12 eggs, it really doesn't matter how many minutes. It's still 5 minutes for hard-boiled egg. But if you're making, let's say, chicken egg and 1 chicken egg and 4 duck eggs, which are twice as big as chicken eggs, then you're going to have issues.
Okay.
Because, one is smaller than the other.
Okay.
So that's how the pressure cooker works. So you start with something small, something that takes, not an hour, but something that takes a short time, and see, how you like it. All those buttons are nothing more than preset time.
Ooh,
So
okay.
So everything other than rice and slow cooker, yogurt, and steam, everything is cooked on high pressure.
Okay.
So meat, chili, soup, any of those buttons, they're all high pressure. Rice is cooked under low pressure. That's because it's starchy. It creates a lot of foam when it boils. So you don't want to have a high pressure setting, because then it'll just, the foam and the bubbles will just reach the top of the pot.
Okay.
So it'll just keep it very low, and it just kind of slowly cooks the rice. But if you do something like, meat, let's say soup, chicken soup, you don't need to do it in low pressure. It's already set as high pressure. So my book explanation is not using the buttons, because there's so many different models now, right?
Yes.
And some models don't have certain buttons, and I wanted people to use this book like next year, even if they change the models. So my book's instruction is for, let's say, high pressure and how many minutes, or low pressure and how many minutes.
Oh, you are a genius.
Well, I didn't want the book to kind of be outdated when they change, when they decide to change how the machine is going to function.
Yeah.
And also, even though the title is Instant Pot, you can really use this for, with any pressure cooker. As long as you have a high pressure, function, you kind of have to change the time a little bit, because not every machine is, obviously is the same, right?
Yes.
So Instant Pot's function, or their specs for high pressure might be different PSI than, Breville or, Cuisinart pressure cooker. But the instruction is basically the same. I don't say press, meat button, or I don't say chili button. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I have a question for you. And I've heard this before, and it goes like this. I already have a crock pot, or I already have a pressure cooker. Why is an Instant Pot better than that? How is an Instant Pot different than my crock pot, for example?
Well, Instant Pot does have a slow cooker function.
Okay.
I use it for my book. I have actually a granola recipe, a keto granola recipe, using the slow cooker function in the Instant Pot.
Yum.
Now, some people say that slow cooker function in Instant Pot is lower in temperature than the crock pot.
Okay, that makes sense.
The brand crock pot.
Mm-hmm.
That brand supposedly has a higher temperature than the Instant Pot slow cooker function. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. So I never made like beef stew in crock pot and beef stew in Instant Pot slow cooker function to compare.
Okay.
I haven't done that, but you have to just keep that in mind. It's every machine is different. Crock pot is different from a Breville slow cooker. So you kind of have to play it by ear. I mean, not play it by ear, but you have to kind of adjust the time. So, but I don't think that just because you put your ingredients in Instant Pot slow cooker function, let's say 6 hours, when it should have been 16 hours, it could be another hour, maybe another hour or two different. You just have to try it. Just like I had a pressure cooker for the stovetop, the type that you used to put on the stovetop.
I have one of those.
You have one too? Yeah, and then it has a little
knob
that just, and the steam used to come out.
Yeah.
That used to scare me. I felt like it was going to explode any minute if I walk away.
I know.
But Instant Pot doesn't do that, and I thought it was broken when I got mine. It's like there's no noise, there's no steam coming out, there's nothing. I said, is this working?
This one's broken.
It's working. Yeah, but the beauty of Instant Pot is that it is carefully measured. All the safety guard is there.
Yeah.
And it's computerized, so it doesn't allow the steam to escape like the stovetop version.
Okay.
Unless at the end of the cooking cycle you manually open the vent, then the steam will come out.
Ooh.
But while it's cooking, you're not going to hear that hissing sound. You're not going to see the rocking, the rocking valve on top of the stove, top of the pot.
Oh, no paranoid delusions about that coming off and hitting you in the face.
No, and people have said, I'm afraid to open it because I heard it explodes. Well, it doesn't explode. Now
Okay.
I haven't heard of any Instant Pot exploding. I've heard of cases of other brand pressure cookers exploding.
Okay.
And I think it's faulty, system. You know what I mean? And I even found a lawsuit page, one of those affirmative. Have you had a pressure cooker explode? Please contact us. One of those sleazy, sleazy ambulance chaser kind of lawyers. But anyway, I found the page and it mentions Instant Pot. And I emailed Instant Pot. I said, look at this. This is, they're using your name. I think this is, not that I want to meddle or anything, but they're using your name and it has nothing to do with Instant Pot. They're just using the name. So I was really, I don't work for the company, but I felt like, geez,
it's kind of sleazy.
They're attacking the appliance that I love. So
yes.
The company wasn't aware of it, and I guess people have call them up and say explodes, which is not the case. Instant Pot is invented by computer engineers.
Ooh.
It's not even made by a cook or a mom. I mean, I'm sure there are cooks, but they're computer engineers first. So they made the control panel with so many intricate, systems so that it can detect any kind of malfunctions or any kind of, I'm thinking electric, terms. I don't know all the fancy terms, but they've made sure that it shuts off if something goes wrong, even before you realize. So unless you did something wrong, like you fill the pot too high, there's a reason why there's a max line there.
Yeah.
I don't even put anything above that max line. I usually put about an inch below the max line, even though max line is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of times you get this spluttering of liquids and maybe some soups when you open the valve after it's done, because either it's too high, you put the liquids too high inside, or you're making risotto, or you're making some sort of very starchy. You can make pasta, but let's say it's too, you reach the top of the lid. So when you open it, of course, it's all going to come out. It's like having your, pot overflow, basically, when you open it. But if you let it naturally depressurize, you're not going to see any of that. It'll take care of itself.
Excellent. So you're a mom, and let's talk about busy mom life, because let's be honest, that's the big reason to have an Instant Pot, because we're all running around every day. So I want to talk a little bit about how you fit healthy eating into your busy schedule, especially when you're out and about all the time. How do you find that works for you? Because I know a lot of people say, oh, Dori, I'm on the run, I can't eat well. I have to eat takeout, I have to go to the drive-thru, I have to just shove in my face whatever I can eat. I don't have time to eat healthy.
Time and healthy eating is such an excuse, not having time. Because you can always, prep before the week begins. That's why a lot of people do meal preps on Sunday, and grocery shop on Saturday and things like that. But if you have, let's say you have a monthly calendar of, and it only takes about half an hour a week to really map out, what you're going to eat, through the month. And you don't have to eat new things every day. You can recycle. Sometimes you're going to have leftovers. Sometimes you can make double batches. We always have leftover for lunch. Sometimes I have leftover dinner for breakfast, or sometimes I'm intermittent, fasting, so I don't have breakfast. But I don't have breakfast foods like most Americans. They're thinking, oh, they're going to have pancakes. They're going to have bacon, egg, and cheese. They're going to have bacon and eggs. Like, I don't have what I want to eat for breakfast. I eat whatever is in my fridge. That's what I consider healthy. Even if it's leftover and it's quick. And sometimes I go through, 16 hours of not eating, so I don't have to have breakfast. So there's no written formula that you have to have, quote, healthy meals. But if you plan ahead, you can have the weekly meal, set up. So let's say you do 2 weeks of meals, and then you can repeat. And that's a month. So you're really thinking about, you're really not, crew meals a month. You're really creating, if you can create 14, possibly 20, because you have some special, event going on, and you can't, eat a leftover, you can't eat leftover the next day, and you have to take, lunch, and you can't take leftover, then you have to create, that extra. So you can have 20 meals, and then repeat. So, and then you can have the grocery list and create a grocery list for those meals, because you have the recipes already, and just plan it out like that. And I think it's doable. I don't think that not having time, and it takes practice, obviously. You can't just all of a sudden sit down and just, do this, head first and be successful the first try. But I think having gadgets or, appliances will help, like air fryers. That's why I love my air fryer, and Instant Pot. I have 2 Instant Pots, because when one is cooking, I can cook either the side dish or, like with the second one. And with all the sales going on Amazon, it's so easy to have, and the counter space is a problem sometimes, but you can do that. So you got 2 Instant Pots and your oven and your stove top. I mean, there's no reason why you can't prepare, a quick meal. That's if you planned it already. So one tip that I've used for air fryer and Instant Pot is to season your meats before you freeze them, so that when you take it out of the freezer, how many times have you? Oh my God, I forgot to take out the meat.
Yes.
Right. So Instant Pot, you can cook frozen meats in the Instant Pot. So you can just take it out, just put it in and you don't have to worry about it being bland or unseasoned, because and garlic powder, or if it's something special, you can, let's say if you're thinking you're going to have, barbacoa or something like that, then add cumin and paprika, like add it with Mexican flavors, and then just freeze it. And then as it defrosts and cooks in the Instant Pot, it's going to infuse the flavors, and you don't have to worry about, just put it in, and then you can do your laundry, you can go clean, whatever, or change your clothes after you come home. So you got to kind of plan ahead. You do have to kind of plan ahead a little bit, but you can do it.
So today, for me, I was like, oh no, I'm going live in 20 minutes, and I'm starving right now, and I need something to eat. So I quick threw an egg cup in the microwave for 30 seconds, threw cheese, and threw some bacon on it, and I was good. If you're in a pinch, what's your favorite 2-minute snack that you can whip up and say, I'm good?
You're really good. You really wanted to put all those ingredients together. I cheat a lot. I just open up an avocado and put some pink salt on it. I call it a day. I call it a snack. And I'm good for a couple hours.
Nice.
Avocado is one of the best fruit, vegetable, snack, whatever you want to call it. If you really get inspired, you can crack an egg and bake it. Like you can put it in the,
yes.
I can put it in the air fryer and wait until the egg solidifies a little bit. I mean, I can deal with runny yolk.
Yes.
So as long as the
snotty part isn't.
I'm sorry?
As long as the white part isn't snotty.
Right.
That's
right.
it.
Yeah, that's as fancy I can get with an avocado. But honestly, that's very rare. I just have some avocado with some salt. Sometimes I'll put some hot sauce on it, and that that's satiating. That's good fat, no calories. It's quick. The hardest part is keeping my avocado, ripe, rightly ripe or perfectly ripe, whatever you want to call it. I have 4 in the fridge right now because I didn't want them to go, really too smushy on me. But yeah, that's me. You were a lot more, gourmet than I am.
30-second egg, I call it fancy. And I'll tell you the truth, I've never caught on to avocados. I think partly it's because they're so expensive where I live. I'm in Canada, and literally they seem like they're rock hard for 2 weeks, and 5 seconds later they're overripe. And I'm like, how did that happen? The only thing I can eat is guacamole.
Also, one of the things that I made with avocado in my book, now I'm trying to think here. Oh, I think it was in my air fryer book. I made a chocolate frosting with avocados, really ripe avocados. And when it's really ripe, you can't even tell anyway because you're using raw cocoa, cacao powder.
Yep.
And it becomes brown. So that worked out. But yeah, I hear you about avocado. Those are really sneaky little.
Well, and I don't think I've ever gotten one right, and I think that's why I don't like them. I think every time I go to eat them, they're already overripe. I don't know, maybe I just don't like them, but I'm like, it's too mushy, it's too slimy, it tastes like ew.
Well, I think you have to really, I didn't really like them at first either, but I think once you find the right, stage, you'll find a lot of uses for it. I love having it, wrapped up in seaweed, with some salmon. You don't even need rice. You just, avocado can go really ways, and you don't have to have the whole thing. You just, slice them up and just add them just as accents. They're good in soups. I didn't think I would like them in soups either, or on top of chili, things like that. But it works.
That is
very strange.
Yummy.
Yeah, very strange, but it works.
So let's talk a little bit about how our taste buds change, because you just made me think of it when you said you didn't used to like avocado. And you know what? Pre-keto, there was a lot of foods I didn't used to like that I do now. So maybe what's a little bit of the science behind that? Why is that all of a sudden I really like olives and I never did before? Is it just my taste buds changing, or is there more sciencey stuff behind it than that.
Well, I can't quote you any research, quote scientific research papers on this, but I'm sure
we
there
don't do
are.
that.
But from what I understand, and I've experienced this, and I've watched my kids going through their changes, their dietary changes. My son used to love anything with cheese on it when he was younger, and then when he started coughing fits from being allergic, and then once I told him, I said, "You're coughing," and he would cough until he throws up the mucus from his stomach.
Yes.
And then he will calm down, right? Because that's your body's reaction to agents that your body thinks is foreign, right?
Yes.
So that's what makes you produce histamine. So your histamine is attacking the foreign bodies, and it's producing mucus to try to get rid of it from your system, and also you're going through the inflammation process. So once I told my son that you're coughing like this, and for a 3-4-year-old kid, it can't be comfortable, right?
No.
So I'm trying to associate as soon as he has that. I said, you're coughing like this because you had pizza.
Yeah.
Because you had cheese, because you had an egg, or whatever. Then once he started thinking, oh, this is bad for me, and he started not to like some of the foods. So once, he wasn't a chocolate lover, but milk chocolate is milk chocolate.
Oh,
it has milk in it.
So yummy.
After a while, he did not want to have chocolate. It didn't matter whether it was milk chocolate or chocolate. So now he hates chocolate. He doesn't have chocolate. The same thing with cheeses. He did not want to have anything with cheeses on it, or cream, or any kind of dairy. He said it made him nauseous. So when I was writing the keto book, I would make a lot of things with cream cheese or heavy cream or cheese and things like that. I thought he could eat any of it. He's now 27. And he was 26 at the time. And he's gone through all kinds of, he's now eating all kinds of foods, but I didn't think he was going to tolerate any of that. But now he was able to tolerate some of those creamy sauces. So I have chicken mulligatawny soup, which is coconut cream. He didn't know that there was coconut cream in it. He thought it was just heavy cream. Yeah. But once he had it, he said, "Oh, this is pretty good." Then I made beef stroganoff. That was with heavy cream. And he had that, and he thought it was the same thing. I said, "No, one is dairy, one is not." But he had it, and he didn't. So I think a lot of it is in our minds, like what we think we should have and what we shouldn't have.
Yes.
Except for sugar. Sugar is definitely addictive. It makes you addicted. Yep. That's why you want to have more and more and more once you have some, right? So it has a physiological effect on your body. But other types of foods, I think, once you think that it's okay to have, or once you think that you should have, I think your body goes, psychology of eating, it's a huge field. But your body starts to think that this is what I need to do to be healthy. And you kind of get over that, that obstacle in your mind. So I think that's what happens.
Well, and I know some people do go all the way through an elimination diet, back everything off, and then reintroduce things slowly. And you know what? Sometimes you can heal aversions to foods through that way. I've even seen a study, and it was so funny because they were talking about how depending on what the cultural foods are in that community, that's what people are most commonly allergic to, which I think is crazy. But they were talking about how people in Asian countries have a lot of rice allergies. In Canada and the States, there are a lot of peanut allergies because they're a large part of our regular diet. And what they did was they treated the allergy with very, very small increments, and then slowly got people used to eating those things again. So I think that if you say I'm allergic to this or to that, it might not be forever. It might be something that you could eventually heal and maybe not, but for your son, that seemed to work.
Well, when I found out that he was allergic to, all those things, and I went back to had those, when he was exposed to those types of foods. Because I started my chiropractic school when he was 6 months old.
Okay.
And about halfway through, he had to go to a babysitter in my building. And this is my theory. Of course, I didn't do any, scientific research on this, but the babysitter that he went to, and you can imagine how stressful this whole experience must have been for him, because he was with his grandma or me all the time, and then all of a sudden at age 2, he had to go to the babysitter, and the babysitter had a cat. He's allergic to cats.
Oh.
She wasn't that clean. She had a lot of dust. He's allergic to dust. She fed him cream of wheat every morning with scrambled eggs. He's allergic to wheat. He's allergic to eggs.
Oh.
She told me that he would drink a gallon of milk by himself, gallon of milk a week. And I found that, I know you're supposed to drink milk, but he wasn't an infant or a toddler. I guess he was a toddler, but he was eating solid food. There's no reason for him to drink that much milk.
No.
But he was drink a lot of milk. What was the other thing? Oh, when he was an infant, he had an allergic reaction or something. He broke out in a rash, and someone told me that and this was after I went back to school, so he had to be fed formula, and this was like shortly after, broke out into a rash, and he, one of our friends said, give him soy formula if he's allergic to dairy.
Yes.
He may be allergic to dairy, so give him soy formula. So that's what I did. He was fed soy formula for like 6 months before he started eating solid foods. And guess what? He's allergic to soy. So
goodness.
I think some of it is genetics.
Okay.
The allergies.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it is, when does it start? Like when does your body start to show, the symptoms? And I think it is after going through a certain type of stressful period. Whether it's a cold that's stressing your body physiologically, or maybe something like a change of environment, going to a babysitter all of a sudden, that's like psychological stress. So my theory was that he was exposed to all those items that, when he went through that period, when he went through that experience, I think all of those things his body started to reject, and he became allergic. Now, I didn't know about this until he was a teenager, that he was allergic to all of these things. He didn't have like a, cough or congestion, or like his eyes, none of those symptoms were that bad, except for eczema. His skin was your typical areas, were always raw and dry and red and inflamed. So that's when I started to pay more attention and took him to the allergist. And when they told me that, I said, okay, that makes sense. And when his pediatrician told me initially that he may be allergic to certain food groups, I suspected that I should. Your first reaction is to just avoid it and eliminate it, right? So that's what we went through when he was like 3.5. Because that's when I first noticed it, because he was constantly coughing and congested until he threw up, like I said. And I told the pediatrician that he needs to have some sort of a test, because this has to be an allergy and not a cold, because she kept telling me it was a cold. But so she had a very simple test done, and that's what we did. And we did go through the elimination, and he was fine and when we reintroduced, he was fine for like a couple of years, and then when we finally started to reintroduce one at a time, he did well. And then when he got to the teenage years, and then when he started to have his skin problems, that's when I went and got a full panel and full detail, food allergy panels done. So yeah, he was good for a few years. So like you said, that's when the elimination diet works. So your body learns to recognize it as being okay, not as a foreign material, and to attack it. But to a degree, I think it works. But I don't think it cures it, all the time. Because, your body goes through all kinds of phases, stressful periods in your life, or, something. And I think that triggers it, back.
Well, and I think it's
diet,
really...
you have to go through phases.
And I think it's really hard to pin down the causes of any particular allergy. I created my own peanut aversion. I used to eat peanut butter and it was fine. It never bothered me. But I was working on a recipe that had peanut butter in it. And you know how that is when you're perfect. You have to taste it like every day for like a week to make sure it's good before you put it out there to anybody. And I ate 3 tablespoons of peanut butter every day for a week. And then all of a sudden I felt really sick. And I was like, but I didn't eat anything that's not okay. And it was the peanut butter. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it's my store-bought processed peanut butter. I'll just get peanuts and I'll make my own. But nope, sure enough, it still makes me sick. And 6 months later, I still can't peanut butter. And I did that to myself. Nobody can even feel bad for me. Why?
Well, I think your body as you get older, and this is why sometimes the allergies, all of a sudden appear when you're older. I think your body just cannot process some of the proteins and enzymes, it's taxed to the max, let's say.
Yes.
And your body will recognize some things as being okay and some things as being not okay all of a sudden. That's why you hear about people developing, like yourself, allergies late in life. Like my mother was the same way. She was fine all her life, and all of a sudden at age, I don't know, like 60, 65, she's like sensitive to any chemicals you throw at her or near her. She's sensitive to all chemicals. All of a sudden she developed this multiple chemical sensitivity. And she was okay all her life. So, yeah, our bodies are not machines.
No.
They break down or they respond. Depending on a lot of different variables. So you can't assume that it'll react the same way at any time. So. Yeah, so, you may be able to, unless you go through anaphylactic shock, what is your symptoms? You just get ill or?
I feel like somebody ran over me with their car for about 3 days. I feel tired. I feel worn down. I tend to get headaches, body, joint pain, just kind of I just generally feel like somebody ran me down with their car. Like that's the best way I can explain it, is it's just an overall, I'm just exhausted. And it doesn't matter now. I was making a peanut butter sandwich for my brother and there was like one little smudge of peanut. And I was like, and then I was sick.
Yeah, you gotta
Don't
be
like
careful.
it.
Yeah. If you went to an allergist, the allergist might say you need an EpiPen because they're so scared of peanut allergies, causing deaths. I know somebody's son, before he went to college, went for a regular checkup and, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, he carries an EpiPen and says, nothing's wrong with me. I don't feel anything, and blah, blah, blah. And they're saying any tree nuts you can react to, so you better carry an EpiPen. And EpiPens are not cheap, number one. Number two, you have to renew it. It's not like it's good forever.
No.
So even though he never uses it, he has to go and get a new one every so often, which is ridiculous. But, I guess it's better to be safe than sorry. I don't know, everybody's reaction is different, but at least you don't have this inflamed trachea and where you can't breathe and things like that. But any sign, any allergic sign, allergy sign, you got to be careful. They say because there's anaphylactic shock can happen. Any warning, even though you never had any kind of a pre signs like that, especially for nuts. So not to scare you.
Oh, no. But, I don't panic easily. I'm sure there's a couple people watching going, oh my God, I better Google something. I might die later today. But not me. Not me.
No.
I'm like cool as cucumber.
Right. And did you hear about the boy who died from fish smell recently?
What?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Everybody knew this boy had a fish allergy.
Okay.
Really bad, lethal anaphylactic shock
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's seafood or just fish, but he had allergies to fish. So they know not to give him fish, whatever. So he goes to his grandmother's house. His grandmother is cooking fish, but not for him. And there's fish smell in the house, but he passes out and he dies. And, you know, the only thing he can think of is the fish smell in the house. So that was, and I posted about it on my page, on my Facebook page, but there are people who are that sensitive. I mean, you hear about this one girl who died after kissing her boyfriend who had a PB&J the day before. He had PB&J the day before, and he kisses her and she dies day later. I mean, you hear crazy stories like that, really, really, really sensitive to these allergens. So, yeah. And what's even sadder is that sometimes waitresses at restaurants don't take you seriously.
Well, they just don't really care. It's too much work for them. You know what? And if you say you're allergic to this or that, you're just saying that to make them work harder. Like, because a lot of people do that. I actually dated a guy who told me he was allergic to mayonnaise because he didn't like it. But if he told me he was allergic to it, I wouldn't put it on anything, right? So he lied to me about an allergy because he just didn't like it. And it was easier to say, oh, I'm allergic to mayonnaise than it was to say, I don't like that. Please don't put that on my food. So I think sometimes with restaurants, they just assume that we're just saying it or to get fresh stuff, right? Like I've heard that before. If you're ordering at a fast food restaurant, order it with or without something, so they have to make it fresh, so that they have to make it for you. So I think it's really important to take it serious if someone says, hey, I'm allergic to that.
Yeah, I mean, even things like gluten, you know, maybe you don't have allergies, but if you're a celiac, you just cannot have gluten. You're going to get sick, like your reaction to peanuts. I mean, they can't really recover right away. So it's really shame that a lot of these, establishments don't take these types of food-related health problems seriously, because it really can ruin your life. I mean, the health cost is just, you try to do everything you can at home, and then it just takes one little mishap like that for you to run to the doctor, and the health cost involved is just tremendous. But I know it's not an easy life to have, food challenges, and that's why I started my blog, because, I had to share a lot of these recipes with, not just with people, but like for my kids, like they have to know what to make, like just in case. And I've told my family and friends, oh, go there, and I have the recipe there. So, that's why I started the blog. Initially I started the blog with, environment and green living and non-toxic living and things like that. And then I realized that there's so many food-related emergencies like this.
Oh, yes.
Health challenges that, I'm going to focus a lot more in health and holistic health and recipes. And then I realized people will heal if they eat the right foods for the right reasons. So that's why I decided to write more recipes. And then these two cooks came about. But sometimes it's just not one diet. Sometimes you have to try different things. It's not for life. I mean, keto, we talked about keto earlier. Keto is not for life for everybody. It's for life for a lot of people, but it could be a short-term, a diet change that can kind of put you over over that difficult hurdle, or it can determine that this is the diet that you need to stay on to stay healthy for the rest of your life. It doesn't have to be long-term. A lot of people criticizing, it doesn't work for weight loss. It's just short term. It's just another gimmick. But, you can't speak about the keto for everybody. You can't generalize like that.
No. So we've had so much fun. Our hour is almost done. We only have a couple minutes left.
Oh my God, I can't believe it's
I know, right? Like, it's literally been more than 55 minutes already. Like, boom,
wow.
Done. So I want to give you an opportunity to tell everybody where we can find you. And then when we're done, I want you to send me all of your links so that I can add it to the post and to the Facebook and to the YouTube, so that when anybody wants to find you, they can just click. So we need to know, where do we stalk you? Like, where do we become your bestest friend? Like, Facebook, Instagram? Tell us everything.
Well, I'm easy. It's same everywhere, including
I love it.
my URL, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere, Instagram, Pinterest. It's Dr. Karen S. KarenSlee. So
awesome.
If you put that anywhere, I'll be everywhere. So I want to thank you for inviting me. This was so much fun, and I love that strobe light going on in the
Isn't it fun?
Yes.
I won't lie. It was a one-time.
I want to offer. I'm sorry?
Oh, I was going to say, it was a one-time deal for karaoke night, and everybody fell in love. So I just keep it all the time.
I love it. It's great. It's so much fun. But I wanted to offer a copy of each of my book to your audience. So you tell me. I don't know how you're going to choose. But I'll give you a signed copy of the paleo cooking in the air fryer with the air fryer, and the new book Keto Cooking with your Instant Pot. So you choose. You just let me know where to send it, and I'll send it to your audience.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to make a post with Dr. Karen's book with all the links where you guys can order it, and you guys are going to share that post to win. We're going to do one on Instagram, one on Facebook.
Sounds great.
Oh, you're so amazing.
That's wonderful.
Thank you so much for your time.
Have a happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye, doll.
Bye.
Bye. There we go. Okay, guys, how fun was that? Okay, so we get cookbooks. What? We get cookbooks. So I have to go pick up Jacob. We have another live at 4, but after I get off that live, I'll make us a fun post that we can share to win the books, because who doesn't love cookbooks? What? Yeah, you probably don't want them. I could probably just get them to, send them to me. Like, you probably don't want them. So, we'll get together soon, and I will make sure I mark that post so you guys know which one to share. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you in 1 hour, and we're going to be back live again for another Motivational Monday. Have an awesome day, guys. Bye, darlings.